College football playoff rankings came out on Tuesday night. Where does Oklahoma stand? What does it mean for the season? We'll discuss. Come up on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcasting network in the multiverse. So, Jay, the Oklahoma Sooners come in at number 11 in the latest college football playoff rankings, moving up one spot. That puts them as the first team out in the 12-team bracket, but still in a really good spot because, again, you went out, you're in the playoff, you're in the conversation. Even if you lose to Bama this week and beat Missouri and LSU, you're still in the playoff discussion. It may not be enough to get you in, but still, you got to like where you're at right now.
Yeah, there's an argument for the at-large at number 11. And depending on how close the Alabama game is, if you keep it really close, if it's a game-winning field goal by Bama, you may not drop very far. You may actually see yourself in a situation where they're like, no, we're very impressed with what Oklahoma has done. I mean, heck, the College Football Playoff Committee has actually mentioned that. I'll talk about that in a second as a post from George Stoya over there on 3. He talked about that. But right now, Oklahoma's sitting at number 11 in the CFP rankings for today. When you look at the teams around Oklahoma, from, Texas, of course, is still up there at 10. You got, Notre Dame, which everyone's still trying to figure out how's Notre Dame up there. We get it. You lost to the Aggies, who's number 3, and you also lost to Miami, who's number 15. Oklahoma's losses, it's number 10, Texas, and number 7, Ole Miss. Maybe Oklahoma should be able to move around, especially with, some of the ranked wins they have. They beat the number 23 team in the country, so they have that as well. So, I kind of feel like, if I'm being honest, I really feel like you should probably move Texas to 9 and Oklahoma to 10 and put both of them into the playoffs today. But as of today, you're not going to see that type of, luck. Oklahoma wins against Bama. They're going to be, they should jump everybody up there but Ole Miss. They should probably move to number 8 if they win that game. And then Bama moves to 9, or actually they may move to 7 with everybody else moving up, depending on how Texas and Georgia goes. But you could put Bama at Oklahoma at Ole Miss at 6, Oklahoma 7, Bama at 8, and then leave the Irish where they are. That's what I think.
Or Pitt can just go beat Notre Dame and just rid us of the Irish altogether.
Well, that too. I don't know how I feel about that. Mainly because, should Pitt have been ranked?
I don't know about that, but I don't care. I just need Notre Dame out of the top 10.
Yeah, just keep winning, baby. That's all that matters.
I mean, let's be real. Like, other than USC, what have they done this year?
That's a good point. I forgot they did beat
their
USC,
wins.
So they
they have a close loss to Texas A&M. They have a close loss to Miami. Then they beat Purdue, Stinko, Arkansas, who ended up firing their coach. Arkansas had kind of quit. They beat Boise State. They beat NC State. They beat USC by 10 at home. And then they beat Boston College and Navy. Like, just not a lot of, to me, the schedule is not the same. You cannot convince me that a 10-2 Notre Dame team with that schedule is a better team or has a better resume than a 9-3 Oklahoma or a 9-3 Texas or a Vanderbilt. You just can't convince me of that. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Yeah, you can't convince me either. And that's where the struggle comes in for even a lot of us is trying to understand what we understand. Notre Dame is a brand, and Notre Dame is a good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're terrible. I just don't think that they should be ranked where they are because they don't have anything really to show us. Because, they've just been beaten up on middle of the road and bad teams. And
they're where they're at because of where they finished last season.
Oh, yeah. And that's very much true. And the love affair for Jeremiah Love, who is very good at running back, by the way. He's an excellent running back. I would like to see, them play more teams. Yep. That gives them there. So we'll find out against Pitt this weekend if they do. But at the same time, I wanted to point that out. about George Stoy over there on
I've
3.
got the full quote.
Oh yeah, go ahead and pop that up.
Okay,
for
so
us.
George Stoya asked the playoff committee chairman Mack Rhodes, about Oklahoma. He said, "I just wanted to ask you, what are the committee's thoughts on Oklahoma so far? And I specifically wanted to know, has there been any discussion about quarterback John Mateer and how he was playing before he hurt his hand in the Auburn game versus how he's played recently, and especially in that Texas game?" Mack Rhodes says, "Yes, thank you." So Oklahoma, we've got obviously great respect for them, ranked 11th, really good quality wins against number 18 Michigan, going to Tennessee, beating Tennessee. We've had conversation about quarterback John Mateer. Felt like he was playing at a really high level prior to the hand surgery. Obviously, the first game back, big game versus Texas. We, the committee, probably did not think he was at full strength, and it seems as the season has moved on, he's getting closer to that. Certainly have great respect for him as a quarterback and hope he continues to heal. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you, Mac. And I think this is probably how most people feel, is that he's not the same quarterback that he was prior to the hand injury. He's getting better as the season goes along, healthier as the season goes along, still not fully back, whether it's the hand or the knee. But Oklahoma as a team, I don't think they're going to be as penalized because of the Texas loss. One, it's a rival, and two, your starting quarterback was not quite himself.
Yeah, you could tell. He looked like it, and it looked like it was something, not sure what, but it was something, but it is what it is at this point. And
shout out to George from Sooner Scoop. That was a great question.
Yeah, great job, George, on asking that and actually, saying, I want to know an answer on that. So We'll see if the committee continues to believe that, and depending on how Oklahoma performs in this game against Alabama, that really tells us everything you need to know. We'll figure out where Oklahoma really sits in their hearts after that game.
Well, and listen, we said it earlier in the week, Big 12, ACC, looking like one bid leagues. I had it right the first time. Sorry. One bid leagues. And this ranking reflects that. You have one Big 12 team in the bracket, one ACC team in the bracket. And that's it. So it looks like it has a chance to be very SEC heavy. I think as many as 5 teams could get in. The Big 10, you're looking at maybe 3 with Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, and that's about it. I don't buy Iowa. I don't buy anybody else out of that league being college football playoff worthy. But you could talk about Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, and then there's going to be a really strong conversation between Oklahoma, Texas, Vanderbilt. Now, some of this is going to play itself out, but there's going to be a really strong discussion about a 5th SEC team being in the playoff.
Whew, there's going to be a strong argument for a 6th if you really think about it, you know, because the way the schedule lines up, if Oklahoma pulls this off, I mean, it's a road game against a team that doesn't lose at home very often, so I'm saying pull it off for that particular reason. But Oklahoma pulls that off. You have Georgia that continues to steamroll and make their way up. Texas A&M continues to do the same. That leaves Bama there because Bama's going to continue to be ranked high enough. You'll have Ole Miss, who shouldn't move anywhere as long as they continue to win. The Florida game, not going to lie, still scares me, because it's just the perfect spot for a Lane Kiffin situation. Yeah. Oklahoma, they continue to win out. They're in. That's your 5. And then if Vanderbilt wins the last game of the season, there's a very good chance they could continue to move themselves up to where they could be 6, 10, and 2 SEC teams. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that was possible, but it is.
Insert the Morgan Freeman good luck gif there, because I don't know how you sift through all that. And really, the thing I think that keeps the SEC from getting 6 teams is Notre Dame, because I feel like you're pretty well locked into 3 Big 10 teams. Now, Michigan could create some controversy there if they beat Ohio State at the end of the year. That could be the 4th Big 10 team, which would probably keep the SEC at just 4 teams unless Notre Dame gets upset this week against Pitt. But yeah, the ACC, the Big 12, sorry, you're kind of looking like just one bid leagues there. And it's going to be really fascinating, the end of the season for the SEC, who ends up putting themselves in that conversation, in the discussion to be one of those top 12 teams.
To me, the only way the Big 12 finds a way to backdoor their way into this is that Tech loses to BYU in the conference championship game.
Yeah. Because then you run into a situation like TCU and Baylor did years ago. Was it TCU Baylor? Yeah, TCU Baylor did years ago where, hey, we're not going to choose a team as the conference champion. They'll be co-champions. And then, that time both got left out. Yep. This time the committee would be like, okay, we respect BYU and Texas Tech and their body of work this year. Both get it. So
yeah, because that will give Tech their second loss, but they'll be at 11 wins. So, because they'll go in, probably most likely going 11-1, play that game. If they lose, be 11-2. BYU will move up to 11-1 as well, right? So it would be one of those where it'd be tough to exclude them. And the question from there is, it'll be between, if Ohio State and Indiana both maintain what they're doing, they're both going to end up probably with no losses, and they'll play in the Big Ten championship. But as you mentioned, if Michigan does what they've done the last 5 years and beat Ohio State's still going to play in the Big Ten championship game against Indiana. Mm-hmm. If they beat Indiana, then you're right back to that same scenario. It's going to be a wild potential setup, because then Texas A&M is going to play Georgia in the SEC championship game, and then who wins that? Basically, truth be told, there's a chance that Notre Dame just gets completely booted out of it because of how all these teams are flying in there. They may end up getting knocked. If Oklahoma pulls the upset, they should jump Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And that will make Notre Dame kind of fall back a little bit. BYU pulls off the win. It kind of makes them jump too, to where the G5 and the ACC snatches the last two spots that could be Notre Dame. I don't know. There's a lot of squirreliness that has to happen first, but I'm looking at this. I'm like, dang, this could be bananas.
Well, I mean, Notre Dame has Pitt, Syracuse, and Stanford left, and none of that really moves the needle for me. I don't care.
Syracuse disappointed me this year. They've embarrassed me 2 years in a row.
Well, and here's one thing that's really fun, and I think maybe is a discussion for after the season, but it really feels like 12 is the perfect number of teams for the college football playoff. There's just enough debate over teams 13 through 16, but not so much that you're like, yeah, we got to get those teams in the playoff. And it keeps all of these games way more meaningful than what they would have been before. Like Oklahoma at 7-2 was out of the discussion in the 14 playoff, but they've got so much more to play for with these final three games because of the 12-team playoff. So it just creates so much more meaningful football in November.
You actually care even more about it at the end now, John, just because, like you said, this does make it, because we're not only chasing the teams that could play in the national championship, the 1 to 2 teams. We're chasing who's going to make their conference championship. And now we're chasing, because even though before, the one thing that did help with keeping a lot of people engaged was the chase for the conference championship. But now it extends past that into the playoffs, because making a conference championship only guarantees you make the playoffs, but you want to also make the playoffs on top of that. So it does make you watch multiple games in comparison, because so many implications are there.
Well, and when they got rid of divisions, it kind of took that away a little bit too, because if you had, 2 losses in conference and you have you were in a division, say your losses were on the other side, you still had a chance, or you had a non-conference loss and a conference loss, you still had a chance to make the conference championship. Yeah. Well, in a non-division format, it's a lot more difficult to get there if you have a couple of conference losses. So I don't know. I liked the division format. It's just cleaner to me, but it's the new world order. We're going to get some fun scheduling from the SEC because of it.
I want pods. Give me 14 pods for everybody.
Nah.
I like pods.
I don't know. I don't love it. But, because we were going to end up with like Texas A&M, and Missouri or something like that. And I'm like, we've seen them. It's fine. I like that we're playing Ole Miss every year.
You're you're in the minority for that, but yes, I totally understand. I actually I appreciate going new places too. So I am in that as well, but also I appreciate the idea of having drivable places for fans. Yes. I think about the students more so than anything with that, but yes, I also enjoy going new places.
When Arkansas is on the schedule, that's going to be lit. That's an hour and a half for me. Fayetteville is an hour and a half.
Imagine
I can get there right now before midnight.
It's true. Imagine Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Texas all in one little pod.
That'd be super.
Right.
That'd be too fun. All right. Well, we've kind of gone a little bit long on pod talk and schedule talk, but it's fun. We're having fun. It's a great week. It's going to be a great weekend of football action with a big game between Oklahoma and Alabama as the icing on the cake. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Sooners wherever you get your podcasts. We're free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to let you know when new episodes drop. Follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, on YouTube. You can follow me at John9Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, he's Jay Smith. I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer
Sooner.